The parents of 20-year-old Sudishka Kanaki believe that their daughter drowned in the ocean in the Dominican Republic and are pushing authorities to declare her deceased. Sudishka's parents also said that they don't believe Joshua Ripe, who was the last person seen with their daughter before she went missing, to be involved in her death. Joshua also testified that Sudishka's parents hugged and thanked him for trying to save their daughter's life. Now, authorities were really surprised that Sudishka's parents asked to declare their daughter deceased after only 12 days of her going missing, when usually investigations go on for months before they stop looking for someone. But I don't know, in this case, it seems like their parents are genuinely convinced that Joshua didn't do anything to hurt their daughter, and I guess after seeing all the surveillance footage of both of them together before she went missing, the only other possibility is that she drowned in the ocean. This is the last time Sudishka and Joshua were seen together at the resort, and a lot of people have speculated that perhaps Sudishka was abducted on the beach after Joshua fell asleep, because remember, they were both really intoxicated. But I don't know, that seems very unlikely, especially at a resort in the Dominican Republic where, for the most part, it's pretty safe.
Imagine going to Mexico on vacation with your friends. The resort you're staying at slips something in your drink. You end up at the hospital where they began demanding extreme amounts of money for treatment. They won't let you leave, and you realize they were trying to steal your organs. Well, that was the unfortunate reality for these college students who went to Cancun for vacation, ordered water at a bar, and immediately slumped over. One of them was then rushed to a private hospital where she was so heavily sedated that she couldn't even open her eyes or even speak. They immediately knew something was up when the hospital demanded $10,000 for treatment, $25,000 for proper treatment, and $5,000 if they wanted to leave. At one point, the hospital even said they're gonna take her to another location for an MRI, which the family researched is a cover-up for S-trafficking and even trying to take her organs. And they couldn't even go to another hospital because the hospital they were at refused to send their medical records to anywhere else. And after 30 hours, they had to get a $30,000 private plane to medevac her to a hospital back in the States. Prayers to the poor people that went through this. Let me know what you guys think, and as always, I'll keep you guys updated.
I'm scared for Miley Cyrus because the biggest conspiracy theory about her right now is that she's trapped in a cult. Yes, a cult. Did you notice she dropped the biggest song of the year, then disappeared? Did practically zero promotion for her album. Completely moved on to a new song, and the only promo she did for that was in a soundstage with her team, and the tweets were saying, "I love that Miley's new cult is letting her do promo for her new single." Turns out it's because Miley has allegedly joined the cult, the Modern Mystery School, and has been hanging out with people from this school, along with the leader, Gundani Gundison, which sounds like some Sesame Street made-up name. To get an idea of the Modern Mystery School, they're a cult that vigorously heals your past trauma to make you the most enlightened, best version of yourself. And on the cover of their website, it says, "You are not perfect the way you are." She's been seen and posting, hanging out with Lily and Blue, two light workers and healers from this cult since February 2023, and she's been seen chugging down Manipulation Station to their little cult gatherings. We know this is for the cult because on the website it always says, "Know thyself." People think what this cult does is break you down completely to build you up into who they want to be. A lot of past members say that they experienced really horrible trauma, physical, financial, and sexual exploitation. He instills major fear about impending doom or personal safety onto his members to keep them in line. Miley even said she never wants to tour again, and one of her reasons was because of the feeling of her personal safety being in jeopardy. Miley's fans fear she's susceptible because she definitely has trauma to exploit in recent times, saying that she's working through the trauma of being harshly judged in her 20s, and the major trauma going on right now with her famous split family. Before I say the craziest part, make sure you follow so you finally know the craziest conspiracy theories about all your favorite celebrities and request who you want to see next. Fans also think she's susceptible because she got involved with a cult figure after the Bangers era, Wayne Coyne. They did a lot of strange things together.
When are we gonna cancel this race baiting appropriation, Polar Bear? Polar bears aren't even white. That is stolen valor. Okay, background. I follow this photographer who you should too. Shout out Liana. She nice with the lens. And I saw this picture, which honestly made me want to make this video because it's time someone exposes them. Like I said, polar bears are only white in passing. Their skin is black. If you focus on their snout and like the area around their eyes, you could peep the melanin. Okay, Twinny. Don't call it a fiasco, no lupe, but it's all black everything under there. And you probably never noticed because for most people that are close enough to see it, it's also their last, and all black is all you finna see. The reason you probably feel lied to is because their hair is hollow and translucent. You know, translucence, the main suspect in this messery. It helps the landlord of the north to trap more heat along with black skin to absorb sunlight. Because remember, not only do they live in Satan's skating rink in an ice-chilled desert, they're the only bears that technically classify as marine mammals. No, for real, like whale, dolphin, seal timing. And they'll spend 20, 30, sometimes 40 miles straight swimming, so being white passing at sea helps them not pass tense and see all white. And if it still don't make sense, here's something that blew my mind, right? So like take saran wrap, clear plastic saran wrap, and crumple it up. You see how something that was started off clear now looks white when it's compacted? It's the same thing. Also, nobody ever told me baby polar bears have pink tongues that turn bluish black as they age. I have no idea why. Like, actually, if anyone has an answer, I'm listening. But they say giraffes have blue tongues to avoid sunburn, so I don't know, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Someone tell me, but until then, the less I know.
This is the photo that was taken just hours after Brian Kohberger unalived the 4 University of Idaho students. This picture is so eerie to me, with his little smile and his thumbs up, and it really just makes me wonder what is going through his head at this time. From the investigation, we know that the 4 victims were likely unalived sometime around 4 a.m. on November 12th, 2022. This photo was taken on Brian's phone at 10:31 a.m. that same day. Prosecutors are now intending to use this selfie as evidence against Brian in the case. They're hoping that the picture helps support Dylan's account of the person she saw inside of the home that night, specifically with the bushy eyebrows. Now, the defense team on the other side is trying to convince the judge that the eyewitness statements about the suspect's physical appearance shouldn't be admissible in court. But prosecutors also say they have evidence that Brian bought a knife and sheath on Amazon in the months before the unalivings, and that knife matches the sheath found underneath one of the victims that investigators say they were able to match DNA from a thumbprint on the sheath to Brian Kohberger's DNA.
Most unusual children in the world. Bayezid Hussein. 4-year-old boy that suffers from condition that makes him age 8 times the normal rate. Hyomyoung Shin. Boy that suffers from condition that slows the aging process and is actually 26 years old. Richard Sandrock. Known as the strongest boy in the world. Kristina Pimenova. She is known as the world's most beautiful girl. Ben Underwood. Blind boy with prosthetic eyes taught himself how to see with sound like a bat. Tessa Evans. Girl that was born without a nose.
These 3 kids are pure evil. In 1966 in Atlanta, Georgia, there were 3 evil boys. Their names were Caleb, Alex, and Walter Mellon. The townspeople nicknamed them the Little Satans, because from the age of 5, the Little Satans began to show a very disturbing and cruel side, often capturing small animals in the town's woods. The other kids in town were terrified and stayed away from the Little Satans. The parents of these 3 kids just thought it was envy of the other parents or just a childhood thing. Most of the town kept quiet because they didn't want any trouble with this influential and wealthy family, but the evilness of the Little Satans was increasing, until one day a kid from the town disappeared, and the last time he was seen he was with the Little Satans. Due to the few evidences, the local police could not make a deep investigation. But an officer named Mark Russell did not give up, and decided to investigate further, where he discovered a secret door in the back garden of the house of the Little Satans. When he opened it, he found a macabre scene. The missing boy was tied up and caged with all his clothes torn and wounds all over his body.
Daisy, Daisy, give me your answer too. I am.
Most unusual families in the world. The albino family. Family with the most albino members in the world. The silver family. Family that all have extra toes and fingers. The Fugate family. Family that was born with blue skin. The Raj family. Family that only wears red and white. The Best family. The world's strongest family. Pearl Carter and Phil Bailey family. 72-year-old grandma and her 26-year-old grandson are madly in love.
Terrifying games you don't want to play, part 38. Shadows on the wall. Playing this game is quite simple, and you will be rewarded greatly if you win. However, it won't be easy and the consequences for losing are high. To play this game, you'll need to summon the shadow people. To do this, you will need a large candle for every room in your house, as well as one for yourself. You will also need a piece of chalk. Once you have acquired these items, you'll need to wait until dusk to begin. Once it has arrived, you may take your candles and position them throughout your house, lighting them as you go. It's important that there's at least one in every room. Once you have completed this task, you'll need to enter your bedroom and draw a chalk man on the wall next to your bed. The size and design of this man don't matter. Finally, you'll need to stand across the room from the chalk drawing and repeat this rhyme. Shadows on the wall, I see you every day. Shadows on the wall, I bid thee come and play. If the chalk drawing begins to move towards you, you'll know that you have succeeded and the shadow people have entered your home. From this point forward, you'll need to move very quickly. Your task will be to exit your home without allowing your shadow to be captured by the people hiding in the darkness on your wall. You can use your candle to ward off these evil spirits, but remember, they are cunning and the light only causes more shadows to appear. If you can successfully escape, you will become like a shadow yourself, able to disappear in plain sight whenever it suits you. However, if you are caught, the shadow people will be able to exit your wall, and they will drag you into the Midnight Realm for daring to summon them. Comment whether or not you would play this game, and follow for more.
This video comes from the Philippines. It's apparently of an aswang that passed right through a gate. If anybody has a translation of what they were saying, please comment below and let me know. I'm very curious. Now let's talk about the obvious. What could have happened here? This very well could just be camera distortion. Maybe the guy jumped the fence or opened the fence and closed it quickly and the camera did not pick it up quick enough. That is a rational explanation for this. However, many are claiming this is an aswang, which is a Filipino urban legend. These are shape-shifting creatures who have malicious intent with humans. They seek out flesh and blood. What do you guys think this is? Let me know.
So you probably have questions. I may have answers. Anyway, this is the Bodo, aka the Amazon River Dolphin, aka a sentient hot dog that got left in a microwave of life too long. A flipper paralysis demon if I've ever seen one. See, now what had happened was, scientists studied these river pigs for over 200 hours, and there were 36 separate times where one decided to become a sentient sprinkler for apparently no reason. Questionable use of free will, and scientists hit a mental roadblock trying to figure out the why. Here's my guess. Fun fact, dolphins can recognize each other by using their version of names. It's pretty cool. They can also recognize each other by tasting urine, so they got that two-factor authentication going. That's not a joke. Scientists watch dolphins carefully listen to the sounds of whistles and consolidate that by sampling their south shower before giving them the how the heck are ya. Another thing is that nature's forgotten bubblegum isn't blind, but with the murky river water they live in, they might as well be, so senses like smell and taste carry the team. And the last thing is that male dolphins form lifelong alliances where they help each other get laid, and being on our smelly timing is how they prove their identity. It's not really that crazy. Animals like lions spray to mark their territory, giraffes will taste bladder product to see if a female's ready, and porcupines will really gift a golden shower to let the lady know he's on timing. So that's my guess. Or they could just be playing, cause the way those males in alliances bond is something I can't talk about on here. Not so shameless plug, but nah, for real, Goblins is probably already gonna spank me for showing that video, so if you're curious and you wanna know what I'm talking about, there you go. The more you know.
Imagine you're me scrolling on your For You page in the middle of the night and you see this. Now, this is a doll. Let's get that out of the way first. And this woman married this doll. There you go. There's a picture of them at their wedding. And she has like an entire family of like zombie dolls. But is this not so like unnerving? And also, is that not like a child zombie doll? I understand this is not what my like page normally is about. Like it's usually like crime and like hauntings and stuff like that. But like this is freaking me out.
You stab, you stab, you stab, you stab, you stab until he was dead.
This 12-year-old boy randomly stabbed a 9-year-old to death and later sought the death penalty in court. However, after learning about his background, the victim's family not only forgave him but also hoped for his recovery. On an afternoon in August 2014, Jamarian Lawhorn, afraid to go home, randomly chose Connor Verkerka as his target at a playground and stabbed him 6 times. Instead of running away, he called 911 and waited for the police to arrest him. Lawhorn's defense attorney argued that he had suffered years of abuse from his parents and pleaded insanity in court, but the judge rejected the claim. A physical examination revealed multiple bruises and signs of chronic malnutrition, all caused by his mother and stepfather. This severe mistreatment left Lawhorn feeling utterly hopeless, ultimately leading to the crime. Upon learning the full story, Connor's parents forgave the 12-year-old boy. Ultimately, Lawhorn was convicted of first-degree murder, but since he was a minor, the judge issued a blended sentence. He would stay in a juvenile facility until he turned 21, at which point he would be tried as an adult. Was this a fair ruling? Share your thoughts in the comments.
You won't believe what this man was caught doing with a corpse. 46-year-old Randall Bird was caught doing inappropriate things to a corpse while he was working his shift as a security guard at the Banner University Medical Center in Phoenix. Randall's job was to bring deceased bodies to the hospital's morgue and slip them into the freezer. But during his shift, coworkers walked in on him and caught Randall inside the freezer with his zipper down, his uniform looking messy, and a body bag open. He was seen almost on top of the 79-year-old deceased woman, and when the workers walked in, he quickly tried to cover the body. The workers said that Randall looked so sweaty and nervous when they caught him, and his excuse was that he had a medical emergency and he almost passed out. His co-workers did not believe a single word and reported the incident. When Randall was interviewed by police a few days later, he basically just said the same story and said that he couldn't remember much of what happened. But not long after, investigators found his DNA on the woman's body, which proves that Randall was in fact doing what we all assumed. He was arrested and now faces multiple charges.
This is a true horrifying story, part 25. Warning, this is not a joke. The information that's going to be shared is dangerous and life-threatening. Do not, under any circumstance, commit the actions that will be narrated. This is the world's most dangerous book ever, Shams al-Ma'arif. This book was written by Ahmad al-Buni in the 17th century. But technically, the author of this book is not a human being. I never did and will never read this book. And this is your second warning. Do not read this book. Ahmad al-Buni practiced black magic, and he was in contact with the most powerful jinns and demons before he passed away. The jinns were the authors of this book. The elder generations, like our moms and dads, have heard about this book, and they were warned by it. There are thousands of horrifying stories of people who read this book. Shams al-Ma'arif explains everything about black magic, how to get in touch with the world of jinns, how to marry a jinn, and the sacrifices you have to do for the devil, and much more. Unfortunately, this book can be easily found online. One day, a Saudi Arabian man that read hundreds of books for a living decided to read this book specifically out of interest and love for all books, without fearing the consequences behind it. He reached the chapter that teaches readers how to get married to a female jinn. He laughed about it. He tried the ritual to experiment it. The first night after finishing the whole book and completing the marriage ritual, he felt someone breathing next to his face. And on the second night, he felt a hand touching his feet. And on the third night, he heard her voice. The man was officially locked in a marriage with a demon. 5 years go by. He met a normal, beautiful woman that he fell in love with, and they both decided to get married. A week before the wedding day, the bride, the bride's parents, and the groom's parents all pass and die in 3 different car crashes. These are the consequences behind this book. And it's also known from many stories of people that have died from reading the first few pages. If you don't finish reading the book, you will get killed. All my stories, all of them, are true incidents that happened one time only. But this book is a product that is permanently available online. I beg you, do not go anywhere near Shams al-Ma'arif. This video is to educate you on the dangers behind this book. Do not go anywhere close to the world of jinns.